Hello, welcome to Meraki channel. I'm Lesania Afonso, and today I have a special guest, my friend, and we are here to talk about friendship and other things as well. So I would like her to introduce herself to you. Would you like to say a few words?
Hello, my name is Fatima. It's Fatima Sharifee, and I'm also a nurse like Lesanie. So I'm 27, originally from Afghanistan. So I came to London when I was 8 years old, so about 19 years ago. And Lesanie and I met at university, both studying nursing. I think it was in the final year, wasn't it? Year 3, mostly that we met, because I think you came into our cohort in the 3rd year. So yeah, that's why I hadn't seen you before. But yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah, and I invited Fatima to come to the channel today to talk to me because I would love you to meet her, and because we have, I believe, we have a very interesting story about friendship, and we would like to share with you some of the things that I believe are very special in our friendship. So the first thing for me was like the way we met. We met at university, but we were unlikely to be friends if you consider like the difference we have in terms of age. And we have Lola here as well, but she's not interested now. And I'm 45, Fatima is 27, so it was a couple of years ago. So we have a big difference in age, and Fatima is Muslim and I'm non-religion. And we have different cultures, we come from different countries. And would you like to tell them how we met, how we clicked?
So,
put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. So, well, I think the first time that I'm gonna tell you everything now.
Oh my God.
How I noticed you, is because I sat with my other friend Natasha at the back of the class. You would kind of always come and sit at the front, and you'd have headphones in, and I would always thought like, what is she listening to? Like, I was curious. And then in class you would always put your hand up and you would share your stories and your experiences, and I really loved that. And because I would remember those stories next time, because once, for example, you talked about this book, like 5 side effects of kindness.
I recorded a video about that actually. I think
you?
I mentioned the book is by David Hamilton.
Yes. And just when you would share stuff like that, so I wrote the name of that book down once, and then I bought it next time I saw it. It was because I went to when I saw it in the bookstore, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that, because it just sounded interesting. And as I read the book, I loved it. And as fate would have it, I actually used that book for a presentation later on. But that's beside the point. My point was that I really like that you would give these anecdotes in class, and not everyone is comfortable sharing the experiences in class.
Now I have my own channel because I love sharing, so I want to have my own audience,
which is pretty amazing, by the way. I don't think I would be as courageous as you. Maybe one day, but not yet. So yeah, I really like that about you. And I think we first became friends when we were in a group work, wasn't it? And that's how we...
I don't remember exactly how it happened.
I tried to think back on it, but I couldn't remember exactly. But I think it was we were put into group together, and then we met up, and then since then I think we were just...
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, like I said, I don't remember exactly how we became friends, but we just clicked. We just started talking, and next thing we were studying together, and not only for the big exams that came later, but we just started traveling together as well, to and from university home, and we had so much to share. We really clicked, and the interesting thing is, like I said, it was completely unlikely because we have a big difference age gap. Like Fatima is even younger than my oldest son, and I'm very a proper extrovert. I was sharing a lot in class. I
think that's one of the things I like about you, because I'm not as much of an extrovert as you are, so I'm a bit the opposite, and I really like that about you as well. So yeah,
and we spent a lot of time together at first, and then the thing is, I always admired Fatima because she's really intelligent. It was her second degree. You did biochemistry.
Oh my God.
And she's very modest. I wish I had her brains.
I wish I had your wisdom. One of the things I love about her, okay, how wise she is. You have like this passion for reading and just constantly. I've seen your Audible list, okay, it's so long. And another thing, that she's so kind when it comes to sharing, okay. So yeah, the number of books that you have on there and the knowledge that you have is so amazing. Like sometimes when I'm in trouble, I'm like, what would Leslie think? So I just call her up, Leslie, I need your help. So I always look for her advice. Yeah, I love that one of those.
Thank you, that's very kind of you.
Very wise.
And basically that is the big characteristic of our friendship. We're really kind to each other. And we work together as well. When we finished our nursing training, that's an interesting story. Do you want to tell how that happened? How we end up in dialysis together?
Yeah, it's an interesting story because I did not expect to end up there. Let me tell you, because I mean, I didn't even, because I wanted to do a specific type of nursing. It wasn't hospital based, so it was like, you know, practice nursing, and that, you know, it was a bit hard to get into at the time because you needed experience, and obviously I just qualified, so I was a bit wasn't sure about that. So I thought, okay, fine, let me just apply to a job in hospital. I thought maybe ITU or A&E. And then Leslie, she applied for hemodialysis because she'd had experience in that before. And then it was actually 20 minutes to 12. Okay, so it's the next day, okay, 12 a.m. And she said, quick, you have to apply for this job. And I looked, okay, fine, let me do it. And I did it, literally submitted it a few minutes before the deadline, okay, before like 12 a.m. And yeah, we both got invited to the interview. And she knew how nervous I was at the interview, so she was constantly talking to me so I could calm down.
Yeah, it was like I really made a bit of pressure. Like 30 minutes before the closing time to apply, I just said, "You have to apply now," and she did, and we both got the job.
Yeah. But
the main thing that because our friendship, in reality, it wasn't always like flowers and, you know, always we had our problems eventually, because anyone, the point I wanted to get into today, anyone that you get too close with, you get to know deeper, you probably have disagreements, you have difference, and you have to overcome certain difference. Absolutely. And sometimes it's really hard to know how to respect other people's choices. And we've been through that. I'm not going to go into details because I don't even know what happened. But there was a time we kind of start clashing.
Yeah, a little bit of friction, and it just I think what we realized was like, because I think we voiced it to each other, and I think that kind of helped as well, you know, because I don't know, I think it did, because if you don't know, you can't guess what the other person's thinking. And I think that helped. It made our friendship stronger, and don't you think it brought us a bit closer? I think
it did. But at first, like we were so good. We were like spending a lot of time together. We really admired each other, and we helped each other. We were studying together, you know. There were some things I was stronger, and then I would support her, which was like the practical side of nursing, because I had a lot of experience, and she was very, very good. And in theory, like she was very organized to study and to prepare really for the exams and all that. So we really helped each other. We complemented each other. But then, as any relationship, if you get too close, you might have start spotting the difference, and we start clashing. And even though she looks like this angel and she's so sweet, she has a very strong personality. You wouldn't tell. So we start clashing, and then but we never argued. We had a conversation, you know, we voiced very kindly what, you know, the difference. And then we spent some time apart, I don't know, a couple of months. And then eventually we got together again, and then we had to work together. And do you want to tell a bit more? I have to check Lola in our bag here.
She's doing something rummaging.
Lola, come.
So, well, work was good, because I mean, we didn't get to see each other that much. So when I did see her, I'd be like, oh yes, I know someone at work. I'm not alone. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, because we had this problem, and then we were apart for a couple of months, and next thing we would be working together. But then we were fine, because I think the important thing we did, we talk with compassion to each other, and we allowed the space for healing. And then, as I see, we wait, like, is this relationship, this friendship is important for me?
Yes.
And we had so many more good things about each other than things that we disagree. And disagreeing is healthy, as long as you respect each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we end up working together. And do you want to talk about like the way, the stage we are now, like the
Well, now it's I think mostly we're always there for each other. For example, if I'm ever stuck or have a dilemma or something like that, I know I'm like, okay, what would Destiny say? So I call you and ask you for your advice, and she gives the best advice, let me tell you, okay? So when she's telling me something, I'm just in trance. I'm just like, and what else? I'm just like listening. Like recently, for example, she helped me in the biggest way ever, okay? So she helped me get my dream job. Let me tell you about that. So I am someone who's, I don't know, I'm normal, and then when you say the word interview, I turn into someone else. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but it's just one of those things where you're just nervous in the interview for no reason. So so I was preparing for the interview, and I had some practice, you know, because I'd been to some other interviews, but this job I really wanted it. So I called Leslie and said, can you help me? Because I need your help. And no, actually, I told her about the interview, and she suggested, do you want to practice it with me? And I said, yes, please. You know, I took the opportunity. And oh my God, it was so helpful. It was so helpful.
It was helpful for me too.
The things that you came up with, they were like the best answers ever. And let me tell you, when I went to the interview, I didn't have that like scared feeling I normally do in an interview. So I was like, oh, I felt like you really prepared me for that. I was so grateful.
But it was good for me as well. And then Fatima was super grateful. And then I remember telling you, but that's the thing about our friendship. We feel so much pleasure. We feel so much satisfaction for helping each other. And that's the main point. That's where the idea of recording this video came from. Because our friendship, we are more focused in helping, in giving than taking. And I believe that's the main problem of relationships. We get into relationships thinking what we can get out of it. Absolutely. And for us, I feel that's so healthy, because we want to give. We feel good about giving. And like she helped me a lot, immensely, when we were studying for exams that I thought I would never pass. And even in relationships as well, you know, because I'm much more, you know, relaxed when it comes to that. So sometimes I tell something really personal that I think it might come as a shock to her, because our cultures are so different.
But then I understand the difference between between us. So I learn from her as well, and I can empathize, and I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I've learned a lot from, you know, some of the things that you said, but you say it in a really kind and mature way, which you know,
And it's about compassion as well, because we cannot tackle prejudice, for example, because when we see someone like, that is different from our culture, from the way we were brought up, we just make assumptions, but we don't really know. The moment we allowed each other to be close to each other and to really know, you know, we understand. And you know, I'm a single mother. I had 2 children from different fathers, and I was a mother at 16. You know, Fatima come from a culture and education much more reserved, more conservative than I have, and it's completely different lives and cultures, but we respect each other, and it still is so rewarding for me in that sense.
And let me give you an example of that, because like, I don't know how much you knew about Islam or about my culture,
yeah,
and from about Afghanistan. So it's like, yeah, you're right, it's very reserved. And so I was brought up to be very sensible, you know, just not very, I wasn't. So So, but the thing is, whenever I've needed help or I've asked for her advice, it's always been so thoughtful and kind, and just the way you've said things is like, it hasn't been like, oh, I don't think I could do that. Like, the advice you've given me has always been so appropriate as well, but just mostly just it comes from, you just know it's from a good heart, you know it's coming from a good place. So that's why I love taking advice from you, because I know it's like coming from a safe place, you know, from a really good friend.
But about taking advice is something really tricky as well, because I try to be careful, and I mentioned in other videos as well, I'm starting a master's in psychology, and we are not supposed to tell people what to do. And I'm mindful not to do that, not to say like, do this or do that. But sometimes I just give her a nudge.
Yes,
and it's not like, I don't mean to be, and I have to come from a place of empathy, because I don't know exactly what she's going through. I can only speculate, and I have to listen. I have to have an open heart and be free of prejudice as much as we can, because no one can be totally free of prejudice.
Actually, that's one of the things I've learned from you, is that the way you give advice, you don't tell people what to do. You explain and you say, like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. Like, you give your points of views, and you know, make sure that person understands the situation, which is really helpful. So that's one of the things that I'm working on as well, because you know, it's so easy sometimes just to tell someone what to do. Oh yeah, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that. So sometimes, like, you know, my other, like Soraya, if she ever has a problem that she tells me about, I always think like, oh, you know, like your technique kind of thing. I don't tell her what to do, because obviously you can't tell anyone what to do, no matter, even if it's your sibling or your best friend, because they know their life better than themselves. You can't make a decision for them, because the decision they make, they have to live with it, you know?
And plus, sometimes the answer is really obvious for us as an outsider, but we have to respect that the other person is learning, is through their own processes. So it's not for us to decide and to say what is right or wrong for them to do in their own lives. So having the empathy and compassion, like people say, there is a quote I've seen on the internet, but I don't know who is it from. It says like, compassion, honesty without compassion is brutality. And I love that, because just speaking your mind and thinking you're being honest, but if you're being hurtful, it's not useful. So coming from a place of compassion and kindness, and respecting the difference, respecting the other person is really important.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Would you like to add anything else? Anything
No,
else
I
about
think-
your culture,
I
your
think you put it
religion? Would
really
you like
well.
to take the opportunity for Brazilian people to learn?
So I mean, there's so much about Islam. I mean,
We have to do another video
I
just
know.
about
I
Islam.
would have to do a whole hour video to explain about Islam. But yeah, I mean, people from Afghanistan, they have a vibrant culture actually. So they have like a very vibrant culture. Where would I even begin to explain that, you know? Because we have like Pashtuns who live in Afghanistan, and Persian, like people who speak Farsi who live in Afghanistan. So I mean, it's not all like dry land there. Okay, I went there 3 years ago. So they've got buildings there, and it looks amazing. There's some places that are just breathtakingly beautiful, you know. I mean, I do miss my country sometimes. I wish I could go there, but you know, there are some places which are still a bit dangerous. But
So
mostly,
it's in Brazil, yeah.
yeah, but that's like, it's like almost everywhere in the world, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's the beauty about living in London as well, is the place like very cosmopolitan. You have the opportunity to meet all kind of people from every country you can imagine. And if you just stick with the people you know, you just mix with the people from your own culture, you never have the opportunity to explore, and then you never overcome prejudice really, because you just make assumptions about things you don't really know, you don't really understand.
That's so true, because like, especially for us, because we're nurses and working in a healthcare profession, it's so important to be aware of these things. Like, we work with so many different types of people, and if we didn't have an open mind and we didn't have compassion towards each other, I think it would be, well, I don't think we would be great nurses to begin with.
We have to respect. We don't know, you know, it's not for us to judge if that person, our patients deserve or not, or it's not for us to judge exactly, especially as nurses.
Yeah, so like in hemodialysis, we work with a lot of Asian patients, you know, and
Yeah.
I think even though I'm Asian, I feel like I've learned more about working with them, and I think it's grown like my compassion just a bit more, because there were things that you know, on the outside it might look a certain way, but then as you got to know the patient and, you know, more about their family or the history or other things they might be going through.
And the health problems as well, how their health issues impact their lives.
Absolutely.
We just don't know to what extent.
I know. And just them coming in like that many times a day, staying there for that, you know, even that was just, it makes your heart ache for them. It makes you so much more empathetic towards the patient. So
because in case people don't know, dialysis patients, people who have kidney failure and they need dialysis to do the job, the filtrage that the kidneys are not capable to do. So they have to come 3 times per week to the dialysis unit to be connected to their dialysis machines and do all this. Did I explain it properly?
Yeah. Their blood gets clean, but you know, but the most painful thing for us to watch is when we put the needle in their fistula. So when I first started doing that, I was like, you know, I was terrified to do it, but then the look of pain in their face when you do it is really heartbreaking actually. And for them to do that 3 or 4 times a week, right? And every single week just coming in and doing that, that's just, I don't know, you have to have a certain level of strength to be able to do that, you know? Knowing that's the only way to survive.
I think we are aware, because we both are working in our own awareness and developing this capability of being more compassionate and kinder as well. So not that other people are not, but being that environment and observing these is a really laboratory for us to learn and grow as well as human beings. I think I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a privilege to have that impact in patients' lives, because like even though we've left hemodialysis now, both of us, and when we go back, sometimes we do a bank shift, and then because we worked there like, you know, for like 10 months there, and it was like they kind of become like your family in a way, because you see them so much.
We bond
you know?
with them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you go back, and then you know those patients that you've been through, you know, tough times with or whatever, they're just so grateful to see you, and the look of happiness on their face. It's a feeling that you can't really explain unless you're a healthcare professional and you go through it yourself, you know.
But the main point we were trying to make at this video is like an invitation for you guys to allow yourselves to open up, you know, allow yourselves to make friends with people who you think like maybe you don't have anything in common. But you know, and from my point of view, I'm 45. I think it's really good to have young friends. Like she's 27, full of energy. It makes me feel younger as well. So I also enjoy having friends who are much older than I am. So allow yourself this variety, maybe, you know. Some people prefer to connect with them, with those who think like them. But personally, I think we learn more from the difference, from the diversity. And,
Talking about age though, I never felt like you were older than me. I always felt like we're the same age.
I'm nearly the same age as your mum.
That's true, yeah, but I've never felt the age difference, seriously. And then sometimes when you would tell, I hope this is okay to say,
Yeah, of course,
that, you know, sometimes she'll tell people that she's a grandmother, you know, she's got grandkids, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, she's got grandkids. But I completely forget, because it's like, I don't know, we just bond so well, you know, it just doesn't feel like you're older than me. You feel like we're the same sort of age, like on the same level. So yeah, good. And you're right about that, like definitely have an open mind, you know, because you never know who that person, you know, they may look a certain way or whatever. I mean, don't judge on the outside, as they say, don't judge a book by its cover. Get to know that person. You never know, that person could maybe, they could be there 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they could still be your friend.
And be more interested in giving, because, you know, most people are good at heart, you know, unless you're having a relationship with a narcissist or someone who is not very good at heart. But generally, people want to give back. So when you're more interested in what you can give, you know, that person is more, the dynamics is healthier, I think.
Definitely. And another thing, like going on what you said, is just interest. I mean, don't, as I've heard this quote somewhere, it's like, if you want someone to show you interest, show some interest. So don't be the type of friend who just, you know, let them be interested, or let them, you know, invite you to something. You do something as well, you invite them. It's okay, nothing will happen, you know. What's the worst that could happen if you invite them to somewhere, or speak to them, or text them first?
Step out of the comfort zone.
If you show interest, they will show interest as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
Step out of the comfort zone. Like that.
So that's our message today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let us know with your comments, give a like and share with your friends, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. It was lovely being in your video. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.